O young legion, America, nations each, we are in a semi-ancient trap, leading up to and as the value of colonization, while greater than it and while more finite than it. There was actually recorded. Is an actually discernible predicate acts delivery system method that is completely fact-treatment nature oriented, therefore syntax oriented. But more importantly, for example, because of what causes criminal insidiousness. Now the proverbial devil, an archetypal criminal enterprise, if you will. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor, not a police force, not a politician, not a judge. See, victims, predators, though. Every modern nation's identity is the law, because this ancient method, the semi-ancient method, /S, it knew that everyone blamed other things other than themselves. Excuse me. While one identity of volume, that is the scientific value of everything that is simultaneous the way it actually is, individually grouped and together, not exploiting exceptions in exception nature, that which is, that was / is, more finite and greater than. While as the value of, and as its positive or negative relationship to itself. And this is where Earth's difference in the relationship to the rest of space nature is a concentrated difference. This is where and how and why we have consciousness and have its simultaneously inherent active and progressive means. Two, again, with what is more finite and greater than that at the same time, simultaneously. So one scientific identity of value we don't have to agree on the name of. I'm a pantheist who believes that Muhammad was the last messenger per science. But see, people have theory first in sequence. They have music theory first, rather than music science. It is science, the circle of fifths, for example. But see, the syntax, when that plays out in life, people don't have to agree about things. People have the right to disagree about things. And people speak about calmness, or who's calm, or what's not. See, people have been pretending passions and emotions because of this method that is clear as day. But you can't look at it while people are simultaneously offensively defending premises treatments required defended when making opinions and convictions regarding the relevancy of parties' opinions and convictions. See, this science uses what is native pure in its identity of relationship to itself that is also positive always. It's evolution science. It only feels like games. So, somewhere on YouTube, some Native American said that other Native Americans too believe that we must read each other's dreams. And that is because there's maybe appears that they would wish their sick ways would get out. But we have to understand how it knew that everyone employed victims only capable of force, trick, hurt, persuade to worse, only capable of fathoming the real causes of negative value, nature, progressions, acts, and natures, blamed on other things other than themselves. No, for the premises, treatments, defenses. No, for identity, ground, locations, uses in relationship to each age of fact, treatment, nature. This is a method that has self-value role. This was sophistication here, since before our founding parents were born. So the immediate relevancy, for example, the immediate relevance of how slavery was in the North and South entrenched before the founding of America. That has prevented free speech and calm means to speak about that by the people pretending to be defending calm, who are victim predators on off locations tied to databases, further into campuses, all ages and natures, since before computers, since ancient times, since before the semi-ancient trap, which is the other side of a breaching method, human fact treatment nature breaching method, therefore a syntax breaching method. So we have all that we need using correlations simultaneously inherent, active, and progressive means. But we need simultaneously mandated laws followed outside of courts. And where and how that is not happening, because then you could speak calm. Because in courts and with police too, like they have all these issues. They have the trial about George Floyd. I only saw part of it. Now I can't go watch to see, make sure there's justice in every case. No one. So that's why we have transparency. Thank God for cameras. So, but then they try to make the reasons why we shouldn't have it, because what is actually recorded was already, they recorded themselves hiding it and then getting away with it, because the whole time the premises treatments were having been employed because the identity, ground, locations, uses, treatments of positive and negative and of emotions are used to hide, leave out, make people self-value, leaving out sequence shifts. Same people that want to simultaneously pretend, it's because that's the time. Everyone knows this is our schedule. This is how we have to teach each age of fact, nature, each nature of campus, including the fire departments, including EMS, including doctors. See, then they get involved with conversations, them and their patients and criminals, and themselves. Roles with identity theft, frauds, styles. How could anyone speak about success and simultaneously pretend to be aware of who's watching? In other words, what's a good example is not saying they're picking out some people who are going to be successful. We're in the trap since before cars. The pathology of homes, for example, as if this is a living body, the ground. This is ground science, because evolution science does not leave out ground, and it does not use theory. See, we were supposed to have free speech. That means allowed to demonstrate how sequence shifts. And say we had too long the quote right to lie unquote used with quote criminal foreign influences unquote. Now that is not to attack it or to discredit any one other nation and or nor our own. All exceptions and exceptions nature are in demonstration of the same thing. The same ancient tribe that knew that we would have to use phrases like criminally foreign influenced, and they would already have employed uses of the identities of countries, of nations, of territories, of cultures, of physical difference, of temporary differences, to in defense of use, and simultaneously as use of all identity ground locations that can simultaneously can't defend that and ourselves at the same time. And by using our simultaneously inherent active progressive means, like for when people deny, that's proof. That's infrastructure. So everyone's trying to figure out, since founding, for many decades, many administrations, about infrastructure. So this would, I watched on MSNBC, President Biden said that that's to do the old things, fix infrastructure. You don't want the bridges to fall. And so we're talking about economies. See, they have those differences where both sides are right, but they're both sides wrong. Like, for example, with the wealth tax. See, but then it makes it so the big companies that, they have it so they could donate to things. They could write that off and things like that. I'm not a tax expert, but these are political parties as well, together. And neither of them had made the distinction yet, how individually grouped and together we are one of hundreds of nations. We just fell last. And I say I'm begging Native Americans to accept me and us, everyone, because the best thing to understand is first is how that breaching method, that fact treatment nature, syntax, laws, all identity ground location method was first sustained and perfected against Native Americans. Distinctly. Not distinctly and simultaneously while it was employed against all colonists. Distinctly, not distinctly and simultaneously I was employed against worth, because to keep that, everyone blaming other things other than themselves. To keep simultaneously increasingly self-value. The premise is the treatment's defenses.